Welcome everyone to the final round of the UZchess Cup 2026. This tournament got over a few days ago, but we are showing you this final game because we hadn't published it on our channel. It is Arjun Erigaisi versus Nikolaos Theodorou. Now Arjun didn't win this tournament, but this game is absolutely insane. First of all, it begins with the most solid opening of all time. That is the Petrov. Arjun takes the pawn. His opponent Nikolaos Theodorou is a strong player. He's rated 2634. And Arjun brings back his knight to f3. Takes the pawn on e4. And let's see what Arjun plays. He goes pawn to d4. Now, generally, black in such positions responds back with d5 and you have complete symmetry in pawn structure. Look, the entire pawn structure is same. What white is banking on is this small lead in development, which means that his two pieces are out. Black also gets their piece out on c6. Arjun moves quickly, castles, and he wants to play his rook to e1 to attack the knight. Now bishop comes to g4. This is a very sharp line. You could play potentially bishop f5, bishop e7, all of these moves, rook e1. And all of a sudden threat is to take and take. But black doesn't care because black is like, if you play this way, take, and the d4 pawn is hanging. So Arjun first defends the pawn. And now he plays f5. Solidifying the knight in the center. Arjun thinks for a bit and goes queen b3. This is where the game gets sharp now. b7 is hanging. Okay, you have to do something about it. He just castles. He's like, if you take here, then bishop takes f3, g takes f3, and rook f6 defending the knight, and then the king is weak. Okay, so knight bd2 played, and the knight comes to a5 now, attacking the queen. The queen comes back to c2, and the knight comes back to c6. Well, of course you can repeat queen b3, queen c2, but Arjun wants to play for a win. He goes pawn to b4, gaining space on the queen side. And Nikolaos Theodorou plays a6 after 15 minutes of thought. Somehow this knight on e4 with these pawns look really suffocating for white. White has low on space, but rook b1, Arjun is playing around it. He's like, I don't mind. I'm going to play a4, b5. I'm going to gain space there and then jump with my knight into the center of the board. Bishop comes to d6. The bishop starts to look here. Attack can actually build up. Rook f6, rook g6 and so on. b5. Arjun doesn't even care for playing a4, b5. He plays b5 directly. Pawn takes. And now the rook enters in. The rook is attacking b7. It's also looking at d5. It's not hanging because bishop h2 and queen d5 would come. So he goes king h8. And the point is, of course, if you take here, then knight a5, a knight could become really active, knight d2, queen h4 could come in. So Arjun plays h3. He asks the question to the bishop. Bishop could have gone back, but knight takes d2 is a natural move. Arjun takes back with the knight so that his structure isn't ruined with bishop takes f3. And now bishop to h5. Oh, he goes queen h4. Because if bishop h5, you have to worry about this pawn, knight f1, knight g3 or knight f1, knight d3. So he goes queen h4. Now, of course, taking here is curtains. Rook a8 and the king is toasted. So bishop f1 played by Arjun, defending the pawn on h3. And he goes knight to e7. Not the best move. There was an insane variation with takes and queen f2, which was wild. After this, hg4, queen e1 is hanging, or if you move the rook away, then there are more troubles with f4, f3. So that was a crazy line, but knight e7, Arjun now takes the pawn on b7. And f4, Nikolaos Theodorou is in a very aggressive mode. He plays f4 and Arjun says, hey, the bishop is blocked now, why can't I take the piece? So he takes it and Theodorou goes f3, and now you will see there's a mate threatened in one move. Arjun takes on f3 attacking the queen. But of course rook takes f3. Again, if you take here, it's a mate. Boom, rook e5. He blocks the bishop. No more check. What a game this is. He takes on e5. D takes e5. And you can take on g4 actually. He comes back rook f8. I believe to queen g4 he might have been afraid of a move like bishop e2. But there is queen c8. But anyway, rook f8. Queen comes to e2 now. He brings his queen, defending this pawn. Knight comes to g6. Let's take stock of the situation. White has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns. Black has 4 pawns. So you have a bishop and a pawn and 2 pawns for a rook, which is actually a very interesting material balance. But black has very active pieces, which is the reason why sometimes such compensations don't work. However, look at these pawns in the center, and if these two bishops start to get active, they can become very dangerous. Rook b8 played, attacking the rook on b7. Arjun takes, rook takes b8, rook takes b8. Now, a threat could come in to enter on the last rank. So Arjun goes queen d3, he defends the b1 square. Pawn to c6, defending the central pawns. The game enters a phase where now things have stabilized a bit. Queen a3 played, attacking the pawn on a2, looking at c3. It feels like black is very active, but bishop d4, a lovely move, threatening f5 once you defend e5. Queen b2 played, and now already e6 could be a big threat. Also c4 should be considered. He goes e6, opening up the bishop, and already Arjun has a very nice edge. Rook a8 and c4 played, attacking the queen. He takes on c4, and Arjun takes back, queen takes c4. So the bishops are active, queen is looking here. If you play queen a2, there's queen c3, idea attacking g7, so queen d2. And notice rook takes a2 can be a big threat. a4. Both players under some time stress. Knight e7 to block the e pawn from moving forward. And Arjun can play queen to c5. He plays bishop to c5, attacking the knight. Knight comes to d5, right into the center, and bishop drops back to f2. Notice if knight e3, there is queen takes c6, attacking the rook. So queen c3 played, but this trade is very, very bad for black, because after Arjun takes on c3, oh, he doesn't take it. He plays queen e4. Very surprising, because take, maybe Arjun didn't analyze it fully, but here rook takes does not work because of bishop e1. And after something like rook a3, e7 is just game over. So Arjun making this mistake, playing queen e4, allowing, and somehow Nikolaos is like, I want to trade queens, but this is not going to help him. Now Arjun takes, knight takes, and you have this move a5, and maybe this is the move that he missed. As we saw, rook a5, bishop e1, very cool move, and the e pawn just runs down. So knight d5 played, but now once this knight is here, a6, the a pawn is rushing ahead. Look at these two b's in the position. Knight goes back to c7, attacking e6 and a6. And you have e7 played. That's a nice move. If you take here, I take, and e8 queen. So e7, and Nikolaos tries to bring his king in, hoping that he will have time. But Arjun gives a check even, and knight d5, and pushes his pawn to a7. There's no time now for black because king f7. Yes, you are losing this pawn, but I can simply defend it with bishop c5. He plays that, and if I play king e6 here, then king e8, then I take and just come with my king and win this game. So that's the reason why he goes king e6, and Arjun plays bishop to a6, a wonderful move, threatening bishop to b7, and this is where Theodorou resigns. It's a great game played here by Arjun, and one of those crazy encounters which Arjun is famed for, where he creates absolute mess on the chessboard, giving his opponents no chances. Giving his opponents chances, but somehow he always feels that he's under control in the position. I want to look at a few critical moments from the opening and just tell you about what you should know in this opening. Perhaps it will be useful to you in your games. So this is how the opening proceeds. Knight c6, castles, bishop g4, and now you play rook e1. At this point, taking the pawn doesn't make sense, as we showed in the game, because of the d4 pawn hanging. So Arjun defends the pawn with c3. Now his real threat is to take, which is why black plays f5, and this has to be one of the sharpest lines of the Petrov. Now if you play knight d2, which is a normal natural move, black simply castles. And if you look at it, this pin is a bit irritating. You want to move the queen. That's the reason why Arjun gets the queen out first. Now the natural question is, what happens if you take? Because the king is in the center, g takes f3 works completely fine here. And after, let's say, something like knight d6, already the d5 pawn is hanging. Or if you go knight f6, then queen takes b7 and white is winning. So that's the reason why in this position, black played the move short castles. Now black is saying that if you take here, I already have things figured out. Bishop f3, there is no time to take on c6 because of rook f6, rook g6, and I'm already attacking. So that's the reason why you take back. But now comes rook b8, attacking the queen, rook b6, bringing the queen here, rook here, and after king f1, you play bishop h4. f2 is soft, and after you take, I open this up, and even though I'm 2 pieces down, this is absolutely winning position. So that's the reason why Arjun doesn't go and take this pawn. He goes knight d2, defending his knight. And after this, the game becomes normal. In fact, this has all been seen before. a4 is more popular than rook b1, but eventually we reach a position from where, it's understandable what happened, but I hope that you understood the opening better through this explanation.